We are now on class 4, and we will do a recap about layer 1 protocols. And we look at the crypto and blockchain space overall. We look at some news and updates in the markets, and we'll talk about NFTs. So what are NFTs? Each tokens are basically representing NFTs, type of NFTs, GameFi, play to earn business models, and NFT contract. And next week, we'll talk about DeFi infrastructure. We won't really get into many details in DeFi or NFTs because these will be a separate modules. So doing a recap from the last week, we looked at the layer 1 blockchain, and the most important and trendy ones are Avalanche, which they have a summit in Spain right now. It's a huge conference, and they captured the market, and the heroes chains, they were on Avalanche. Other big ones were Solana and Ethereum. So these are the top 3 layer 1 protocols. So this is a old but good picture representing the protocols. As you can see, Flow, Cardano, Phantom, Avalanche, Cosmos, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polkadot, Kusama, Near, Elrond. These are at the bottom. These are called layer 1 blockchains. They define the hardware layers, they define the protocol layers and consensus. And on top of these layers, there are other protocols such as Arbitrum and other bunch of different protocols, which we call it DApps, decentralized apps. And also there are some other protocols called sidechains, such as Polygon, such as Scale. And these are in the market because of the limitations of layer 1 protocol. For instance, Ethereum was very limited, right? We talked about it. It was on proof of work. So Polygon came up basically scaling Ethereum's transaction. They said, hey, Ethereum, you are only doing 30 transactions per second, and I will do off-chain transactions and we'll make that 30,000. So although it's not a layer 1 protocol, they set some bridges to the layer 1 protocols, and these are called sidechains. So where are we in crypto and blockchain space, right? It's a huge market right now. Like there are big companies like crypto.com. There's another one, FTX, with famous actors advertise their brands. Pepsi and Applebee's, bunch of brands, they are starting their NFT collection and try to form a community using NFTs. Thing is, the mayors of these American states, such as Miami, even New York, they start to get their salary with Bitcoin. The big arenas such as Staples Arena in Los Angeles, where NBA games of Los Angeles Lakers and Clippers are held. It's a very important area in LA, and they got the deal with the crypto.com, right? So basically now we should accept blockchain and crypto is not a bubble and it's in our lives, right? It is a part of our financial behavioral society, right? 2008, Bitcoin emerged because of the financial crisis. It's been like almost 14 years, right? And during those 14 years, there were a lot of ups and downs. But now, as I mentioned in the previous slides, the community, the countries, especially if we think about El Salvador, right? They even recognize Bitcoin as their ledger. So crypto space is not just about Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin goes up, the entire space in terms of their token values, they go up. If it goes down, entire market goes down. So Bitcoin is still the king. In a year or two, the market will divert from Bitcoin. So regardless of the price of Bitcoin, the ups and downs, it won't really be affecting DeFi or NFT markets at some points. That's my perception. And there were a lot of skeptics saying that this is a scam. The US created this, and this bubble will blast. The Dogecoin is one of the biggest meme coins, and there are a lot of billionaires, millionaires from Dogecoin and Bitcoin and stuff, right? This is like discovery of oil in Middle East. Something is discovered, there are a lot of rich people, rich became richer. So the entire point of blockchain being decentralized, maybe we lost the focus, right? Because the point was African countries, they get access to DeFi, right? The people who doesn't have banks, that they can have access to the financial tools. So that point is not really valid. So this became a rich gets richer market. But because rich gets richer, now the richer bring politicians who support crypto, such as Miami mayor, such as New York mayor, right? They are supported by those rich people. So my perception is they will never really go away at some point. This market, I don't think it will fade away easily. As I mentioned, the US political system, there were a lot of governors or politicians against Bitcoin or against digital coins. They were thinking that, especially, for instance, Facebook came with their Libra coin, right? And they called Zuckerberg back to the Senate, and then they kept asking, well, why are you bringing a digital coin to US? You are bringing US dollar down, right? That's their concern. But now they are understanding that this is a technology that won't necessarily take US dollar down, but it might actually do it vice versa. Right. So it is still a lot of discussion, and the countries are acting very hesitant to act because they don't really know what is next. So they are being super cautious to bring regulations. They are waiting for other countries to bring regulations, right? But El Salvador is not one of them. This guy Nayib Bukele, he's a braveheart, and he even started this city called Bitcoin City at the base of a volcano. So they will, with the energy from the volcano, they are mining Bitcoin, and they accepted it as a ledger, as their official money. So going now, the next thing is all these famous people like Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Curry, like the famous actors, singers, they got into the NFT space, and they find ways to connect with the community. And NFTs are great tools for those famous people to connect with the community, right? And the Elon Musk said that, hey, I might accept Bitcoin or Dogecoin to buy Tesla or some other stuff. And maybe he will go to the moon at some point and start mining there using resources, right? Who knows? But people are so crazy about this market right now. And the nicest thing is it is a disciplinary area. So there is economics, there is engineering, philosophy, law, arts, energy, and many more. So I think that's why a lot of people are interested in this market, not just because of the financial gain, but also it brings a lot of different perspectives from different people, right? When you get a question from your parents or from your partner, hey, what is crypto or what is blockchain? Can you explain it to me? Right. So with a few words, we should be able to explain it. Right. So if they ask you, hey, what is blockchain? Very, very simple term. Blockchains are shared databases that store and verify information in a cryptographically secure way. Just like, Google Sheets, you can think the blockchain like Google Sheets. And instead of those Google Sheets being on Google servers, they are the sheets, the actual blockchains now. They are maintained by a bunch of computers connected to each other all over the world. And these computers are actually run by people or by even companies. And they mine or they validate the transactions. And every single computer has their ledger, which is the same thing written on those ledgers. So when a transaction happens, all those computers should have the same copy. If it is not, it should sync. They should catch the chain. So this is how you can explain blockchain. And if they ask you, hey, what is crypto? You can simply say, well, came cryptography, because in blockchain and crypto worlds, the transactions are basically through a private key. There is basically a hash mechanism. Basically, they took the last parts and the crypto, they added currency because they do a lot of transactions. It's a financial mechanism, right? So when they ask you, you can simply say that the digital currency is powered by distributed ledger systems. This week, we'll talk about NFTs. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. And I'll talk about ERC-20, which is a fungible token protocol, and ERC-721, which is a non-fungible token standard. So we'll define what is NFT. We'll talk about the types of NFTs. I will talk about an NFT contract, and then we'll talk about play-to-earn business models, where NFTs take a big role, right? So the ERC-20 is actually a fungible token. Fungible token means it's just like a dollar. All those tokens are same value, right? It's not like lottery tickets. Every lottery ticket, they have different numbers on it. They are specifically different. They are unique, right? Otherwise, everybody would win the lottery. So ERC20 is just simply as like a stable coin at some points, right? So ERC20 is Ethereum request for comments. This is the name of the standard. And the standard is proposed one of the Ethereum founders, Fabian Vogelster. And they implemented this token standard like an API, right? Within the smart contract. So when a company deploys a DApp, a layer 2 company on Ethereum, they should use this ERC20 standards within the smart contract. There are a bunch of functions, there are a bunch of stuff that the standard requires you to do, right? Like transfer to, basically the balance. So those functionalities should stay in the smart contract. So that basically sets the standard. And compared to ERC20, ERC721 is a non-fungible token. It's also a standard, but it's not like ERC20. So the standard is basically, it's a smart contract standard. It tells you to identify something in a unique way, just like a lottery ticket, just like a character in a game, right? Basically, it is just a digitized and notarized on the digital world. Okay. So there are top NFT tokens. These top NFT tokens, there's actually, I just put 3 here. Mana, AX, and Sans. So these are also metaverse tokens, and these are mostly on Ethereum layer, on layer 1. The Chiliz is basically a company that issues tokens to all the sport teams in the world. They provide tokens to them. That's also an NFT company, right? So if we go into a little bit more details, like the NFTs are unique. They are indivisible. It's not like you can divide it into pieces. And it's also rare because they are unique, right? So you cannot really, because they are unique, you cannot really interchange it with, another one. It doesn't really have a value, like basically compared to another NFT. Like, and you can, of course, price NFTs. You can say, hey, this NFT is 3 Ethereum, right? You can price it. The community can put a value on the NFT. But that doesn't mean it is interchangeable. It has a price, but you cannot really change it with another token. So, and basically it's a certificate of authenticity, or you can think it like a proof of ownership. The difference between ERC20, it's a fungible token, just like a dollar, just like a stable coin, Tether, and ERC721 is a non-fungible token. ERC721 stands. This is for Ethereum, or if we are using some other layer 1, that's their standards for specifically designed for NFTs. So definitely NFTs have been speculative. Some people call it bubble, and some people say it's not needed because it's increasing the carbon footprints and energy costs in our world. Some people call it Ponzi scheme. But after see a lot of value in them. The merge art of the pack collection. Of course, I don't think it should cost 91 or 92 million dollars. But think it like Mona Lisa. Why Mona Lisa is 100 million dollars or 500 million dollars? It's just a painting. So the value of anything is defined by the community. Okay, this is a very important aspect of NFTs. Like the price is set by the people who deal with it, who play with it, who understand it. This is basically a transfer mechanism of, if you have $30 million, would you buy it? It's a good question. Well, I would buy it because I know I would sell it for $50 million next year. So they think it as a investing mechanism, okay? There are different types of NFTs. One of them is artwork, just you can see here. Other one might be event tickets. You go to Coachella Music Festival and they issue you NFT. Instead of tickets, you buy a arts of Coachella, and that will be your access to the concerts or the festival. There can be a music video of 3 minutes, let's say Linkin Park hash that music video, and that's an NFT, right? And they can just sell that video to someone. That doesn't mean that music video is belonging to that person who bought it. It's still Linkin Park's video. The copyright belongs to Linkin Park. but they just sell the rights to use, or they just sell the rights to listen first, because it has its authenticity, right? It's the first book of that publisher, right? It has the value. There are a bunch of other types of NFTs, and there are a lot of markets such as fashion, such as real estate, such as domain names, media, and so on. So Pak and Refik Anatol with the D, got into this NFT market super fast. And there are a bunch of NFT companies already in Turkey that they got investments. One of them is Pak. They got into this market way early in United States, and that's why probably they were able to sell this for $92 million. And this one also, just a single pixel digital image, all of them of course digital. This one is sold for $1.3 million, and they call it Pixel, right? It's interesting. And Refik Anadol is famous with his artificial intelligence work, and he decided to combine it with NFT work. And in December, just like these ones are sold in December, he sold his first NFT collection, one of these guys, for $1.2 million. So now we'll go to NFT games. So you get your phone or laptop, right? The tool to play it, and you open the game, which is built on the blockchain. That means not necessarily the entire game is built on blockchain, but it has some connections to the main net, such as wallets, right? When you make a transaction, like through the game, inside the game, that transaction should show up on the entire blockchain net, right? Because every single computer should know that transaction. So whatever has needs to, in blockchain, it has basically open doors. The game has doors to that blockchain. So we can call that door like this one, right? For instance. So the game has that NFT layer. And through that NFT layer, the players, gamers, or we call it investors, they start play. And when they start to play, of course, before they should stake some tokens. Basically, they should do a small investment to start into the game. And there are different mechanisms in the game. For instance, let's say you stake 1,000 tokens in the game gives you interest. It tells you, hey, your $1,000 will be, your 1,000 tokens will be 1,050 tokens in a month or in a week, right? So through that staking mechanism, it actually becomes a DeFi already, right? Because you are earning money without even doing anything, without even playing the game. If you play even more, you can earn more NFTs, right? Unique tokens, and you can sell them, you can develop them, and you can swap them, and you can do a bunch of stuff with those tokens, basically, with those NFTs, right? So, and when the more that you swap something, the more you get into a transaction. That means community. Like basically community is not formed by one single person. The more there are more transactions, that means there are more parties of 2, parties of 3, parties of 4, right? Transaction happens between many people, not necessarily even 2 maybe. So long story short, the NFT games or play to earn business model gives gamers ownership in game assets and allow them to increase their value by actively playing the game through the play to earn business model. So by participating in the game economy, now players are creating value also for other players and the developers as well. So in return, they are rewarded with the assets. And these assets, which are NFTs, can be anything from crypto tokens or currencies to some votes, or just you can ask to Mev, it might be some governance right to decide on the game, right? So, and this play to earn business model is basically the most important part of the blockchain game, right? There should be a well structured and taught tokenization and business model behind the game. These NFTs, you can probably use it in another game, and that's called interoperability. So let's say one blockchain game company came with 5 different games, and you create a character in one of the games and you can transfer it to another game, right? So of course the game scenario matters in this point, right? You cannot just create a monster in one of the games and use it in a soccer game, right? So of course the connectivity of these games matter at this point. One of the biggest companies is Axie Infinity. They got into market super fast because they gave extreme amount of rewards to their players. So they said that, hey, start our game, but you have to invest $5,000. And after you invest, we'll give you extreme amount of NFTs for free. So that extreme amount, maybe it reached to almost $50,000 or $100,000. So let's say I just yesterday invested in Axie Infinity $5,000, and tomorrow I got $100,000. It's 20 times of my money. So that's why people think this is a bubble, but I see it at the same time as a way to increase their value proposition. So basically they say that, hey, if you are rich, come into our game. And we created this tokenomics. It's a Valto tokenomics, and you can make extreme amount of money, right? And it again comes to Yarkın's question. Well, how sustainable is that, right? So is there a supply demand mechanism behind Axie Infinity? So what are the sources? Will they come up with more tokens? So who will prevent them coming with more tokens even if they announced they won't, right? What is the regulation? So of course, there are so many questions behind this GameFi mechanism. Who actually regulates these games, right? Because people make money out of it. And there might be a lot of scam. And the government's biggest role is prevent these scams, prevent their citizens get scammed, get fraud. That's why there will be a lot of regulations in this market as well. Maybe they will even block some of these games, and not yet, because they don't really understand the mechanisms or they don't have time to look into. And this is a time frame that people make a lot of money. Like basically they ride the wave, and for a few years or for a few months, and they could get out of the wave. Maybe actually they cash out and they say, oh, okay, I am safe and I will keep riding on the wave. Right? Crypto company has a white paper. The white paper explains the tokenomics behind these companies, such as Axie Infinity, such as Star Atlas, or such as the Heroes chains we just talked. And the problems with the gamers in the blockchain gaming is before the assets belong to the company, right? In this game of Warcraft is, you create an asset, you play the game, you invest your time, but let's say they go bankrupt. Well, you lost a lot of time, right? And you lost all your efforts. So basically now this will not happen supposedly, because the game is actually built, empowered by the blockchain mainnet, right? So the trading is in the old games, like basically non-blockchain games, they cannot trade the assets really legally or easily. But now GameFi, basically blockchain gaming, gives you the option for trading. The governance, which we discussed a little bit with Mev, in the previous times, like non-blockchain games, we don't even have a chance to decide on the game, like the characters of the game, the decisions that the company will take regarding the game. Now, like every blockchain company, the players will be able to decide and vote. This is called governance. And interoperability, which mentioned a little bit, cross gaming, right? Can you transfer your assets, your characters, your NFTs from one game to other game? Right. So in the blockchain side, I think the biggest problem is the adoption. Like when a user starts a game, they don't even know how to use MetaMask, right? So I think the first thing will be how to get a crypto wallet, but they don't even know it because they haven't learned the issue. If we a little bit look at these stuff that we discussed, the ownership of the asset, the trading, the security, interoperability, and the governance will be the most important factors in GameFi. So we talked about Heroes chains. There will be a lot of games in the market, especially out of Turkey, which we are famous with developing games, although it's hyper casual, but there will be a lot of games similar to this in the next months or years, which are called play to earn or play and earn, right? And AVAX probably will be the main net because their founder is Turkish and they give a lot of grants to the game companies. So they give like 100,000 or 500,000 to just a very well built game like this. At some point, you might be able to create your own character. Not sure if it exists in this game, but that will be also another NFT for the game. We talked about this token. It's a utility token we discussed last week. So you can use this token in the game. You cannot go buy bread with this, right? You cannot go necessarily do something in the Chainlink platform. You cannot go to another platform and say, hey, I don't have your token, but I have this token. Can I use it? They will say no, right? So this is valid in their platform. Doesn't it have a dollars corresponding? Of course it does. You can go and sell it. But that means, being able to use it only in this platform makes it a utility token. Okay, it's not an equity token or it's not a security token. NFT contracts, you will much better understand what an NFT is. Let's say you have a monkey and you went to a website and you cartoonized it and you had a nice GIF. You don't even have to cartoonize it, but you want to sell it, right? So you try to make it like Yacht Club monkey ape. So you went to OpenSea. First, you want to use an NFT platform to mint it. They have a smart contract behind. And when you mint it using their contract, the actual platform issues you a token ID and also gets your wallet address. So they know it's you, right? Each NFT in the contract has an ID to show which token it is and owner represented by the blockchain public address. So there are all those NFTs and all those owners are listed. And then, of course, NFT contract should have a transfer function because otherwise you cannot sell it. So this is your address. This is the ID of your token in that protocol, in that market. And then you should be able to sell it by putting another address, and then the function in the contract, transfer function, lets you sell it. There's a comments section. Well, that comment section here is called data, gives you the access to write something there. So for instance, you made your image, but you also upload it on the web. So you put the URL, you write the description and you write the name and you just put it there as a metadata. Just gives the buyer an explanation about what it is. That's what NFTs are. It's a signature on the web that shows the authenticity, that shows that assets belongs to you. So what is minting? Minting means basically through the NFT contract, you create like a digital asset to make it an NFT asset. And what about royalties? Well, you sell your ape to Yarkın, and when Yarkın sells it to someone else, you get a portion of that transaction. Like let's say he sold it for $1 million, and in the contract you defined your royalty as 1%. So you get the 1% of that $1 million as well. So you'll keep making money. Right? It's crazy good because if you're an artist, it's not just you only make money once. You always make money whenever that asset that you created changes hands. So an NFT smart contract basically has functions, and it can be public, private, defined in the smart contract. And through that contract, you can just, make an NFT transfer simply. Basically, it's through the NFT contract, through the protocol functions. I'll talk about a little bit NFTs and law. So it's not really different than the copyright law, still valid. The owner still owns the copyright. So let's say you go and get the Mona Lisa and mint it. Well, you'll get sued, okay? You cannot sell the NFT of Mona Lisa because Mona Lisa basically belongs to someone. It's authentic and somebody created it. You cannot make money using Mona Lisa. You can change it? No, you cannot, because still the concept Mona Lisa is there. He can still go and sue you and tell you, well, you are benefiting from Mona Lisa. Even it's different. People think it looks like a lot, right? So it's same concept, but the only difference now, the loyalties, because now it's digital and people will be able to track how many times NFT change hands.